Another day, another story. You may know that the solstices and equinoxes signal the changing of the seasons on Earth, but do you remember which is which? Are they just different names for the same thing? Actually, a solstice and an equinox are sort of opposites. The seasons on Earth change because the planet is slightly tilted on its axis as it travels around the Sun. This means different points on Earth receive more or less sunlight at different times of year. Welcome to the Eminent channel. If Earth were not tilted, the Sun would always appear to be directly above the equator. The amount of light a given location receives would be fixed, and there would be no seasons. There also would be no need to mark equinoxes or solstices. Because the Earth is tilted on its axis with respect to the plane of its orbit around the Sun, different parts of its surface are in direct, overhead, sunlight at different times of the year. The two solstices happen in June, 20 or 21, and December, 21 or 22. These are the days when the Sun's path in the sky is the farthest north or south from the equator. A hemisphere's winter solstice is the shortest day of the year and its summer solstice the year's longest. In the northern hemisphere, the June solstice marks the start of summer. This is when the North Pole is tilted closest to the Sun, and the Sun's rays are directly overhead at the Tropic of Cancer. The December solstice marks the start of winter. At this point, the South Pole is tilted closest to the Sun, and the Sun's rays are directly overhead at the Tropic of Capricorn. In the Southern Hemisphere, the seasons are reversed. The equinoxes happen in March, about March 21st, and September, about September 23rd. These are the days when the Sun is exactly above the equator, which makes day and night of equal length. Seasons. Earth orbiting around Sun shows its position at solstices and equinoxes. Climate, weather, atmosphere, summer, fall, winter, spring, meteorology, climate change. So, in the northern hemisphere you have vernal equinox about March 21st, day and night of equal length, marking the start of spring. Summer solstice, June 20th or 21, longest day of the year, marking the start of summer. Autumnal equinox about September 23rd, day and night of equal length, marking the start of autumn. Solstices and equinoxes are astronomical events marking key points in the Earth's orbit around the Sun. They occur due to the tilt of the Earth's axis relative to its orbit around the Sun. Solstices. Solstices occur twice a year, around June 21st and December 21st. These dates may vary slightly. There are two types of solstices, summer solstice and winter solstice. During a solstice, either the northern or southern hemisphere is tilted closest to the Sun, resulting in the longest or shortest day of the year depending on the hemisphere. During the summer solstice, the hemisphere tilted towards the Sun experiences its longest day and shortest night of the year, while the opposite occurs in the other hemisphere during the winter solstice. Equinoxes. Equinoxes also occur twice a year, around March 21st and September 21st. Again, these dates can vary slightly. Equinoxes mark the points in Earth's orbit when day and night are approximately of equal length worldwide. There are two types of equinoxes, vernal, spring, equinox and autumnal, fall, equinox. During an equinox, the tilt of the Earth's axis is perpendicular to the Sun's rays, causing daylight and darkness to be approximately equal in duration across the globe. The vernal equinox marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere, while the autumnal equinox marks the beginning of autumn in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern hemisphere. Solstices. Summer solstice. The summer solstice, also known as midsummer, has been celebrated for millennia in various cultures around the world. One of the most famous celebrations is the ancient festival of Midsummer in Europe, particularly in Nordic countries like Sweden and Finland. These celebrations often involve bonfires, feasting, dancing, and rituals to honor the sun and its life-giving warmth. Stonehenge in England is a famous site associated with the summer solstice. Thousands gather there every year to witness the sunrise aligned perfectly with the stones, believed to have been a significant aspect of the ancient people's celebrations. In some Native American cultures, the summer solstice is celebrated through ceremonies and rituals honoring nature and giving thanks for the abundance of the season. Winter solstice. The winter solstice marks the longest night and shortest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, and it has often been associated with festivals of light and rebirth. One of the most famous celebrations is the ancient Roman festival of Saturnalia, a time of feasting, gift-giving, and revelry. In many cultures, the winter solstice also marks the beginning of the new year or a period of renewal. For example, the Yule celebration in Germanic paganism and modern Wiccan traditions involves decorating with evergreens, exchanging gifts, and lighting candles to symbolize the return of light and warmth. Indigenous cultures around the world often have their own ceremonies and traditions to mark the winter solstice, celebrating the turning of the seasons and the cycles of nature. Equinoxes. Vernal equinox, spring equinox. The vernal equinox heralds the arrival of spring, a time of renewal and growth. Many cultures celebrate this event with festivals and rituals welcoming the return of longer days and the awakening of the natural world. In ancient civilizations like the Maya and the Egyptians, the vernal equinox was an important marker for agricultural activities and the planting of crops. Ceremonies and rituals were held to ensure a successful growing season. Modern celebrations of the vernal equinox often involve themes of rebirth, fertility, and balance. It's a time for cleaning and organizing, as well as for setting intentions and goals for the coming months. Autumnal equinox, fall equinox. The autumnal equinox marks the transition from summer to fall, a time of harvest and preparation for the colder months ahead. Many cultures have traditions centered around giving thanks for the bounty of the harvest and preparing for the winter. In North America, the autumnal equinox is associated with the celebration of Thanksgiving, a holiday rooted in giving thanks for the harvest and blessings of the past year. In Japan, the autumnal equinox is observed with the holiday of Higan, a time for visiting the graves of ancestors and reflecting on the transient nature of life. Global equinox yoga events. In recent years, there has been a growing trend of organizing outdoor yoga events to coincide with the equinoxes. Yogis around the world come together to practice yoga in parks, gardens, and other natural settings, connecting with the earth and harnessing the energy of the changing seasons. These events promote mindfulness, community, and a deeper connection to both the self and the natural world. Green initiatives and sustainability campaigns. With increasing awareness of environmental issues, the equinoxes have become symbolic markers for sustainability and environmental activism. Many organizations and communities use these occasions to launch green initiatives, promote eco-friendly practices, and raise awareness about conservation efforts. In essence, solstices and equinoxes continue to inspire awe, celebration, and cultural expression around the world, serving as reminders of our interconnectedness with nature and the universe. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.